Hello there, Atheist Junior here, your friend and humble narrator. And today I'm really excited to be coming to you guys with a stream about another very interesting, to say the least, odd video of Kent Hovind. And we have a real all-star panel today. So if me and Grayson and Mark Reed are the Miami Heat of debating creationists on YouTube, then what are we, the Fab Four? What's our lineup? Aiden, you go first. How are you doing today, Aiden?
Well, I was going to say the Miami Dolphins, but I guess, given how often God sends hurricanes over there, I better not use that example, Hovind.
I'm pretty good, thanks. I'm doing pretty good. Having a pretty nice day so far, so looking forward to this stream.
Okay, Big Bad Mama, how are you doing? And what do you think the name of our quartet should be? Are we the Beatles of the Beatles?
Let me think about that. Yeah, I think we have almost risen to that level. We already have the Three Stooges, and that's you, right, Claude, and I. But we have to, the Beatles. That's a good name for us.
And today we have sort of a newcomer to the panel. We have Karisu Tomato. If you guys aren't familiar with him, you should be. He's been doing videos about Kent. So basically, what Karisu did is he completely ripped off my shtick, except he doesn't do live streams. He just records it. Isn't that right?
Wow.
That is exactly what I do. 100%.
Well, I guess we know who the Pete Best of our group is then, if everything goes
No,
wrong.
we know who Ringo is.
Oh, that's a better joke. You're right.
Look, as long as I'm part of the team, that's what matters.
I'm joking.
You're a valued part of the team.
Sorry.
Okay, so we need to assign our role. So I'm John Lennon.
McCartney.
This is Ringo. Big Bad Mama, McCartney. That leaves you. Don't. Okay.
Harrison's cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He called. I mean, Big Bad Mama called it. It's only fair. I mean, you should be mad. I mean, I get shot and killed in New York City, allegedly.
Yeah, but that's cool though. Like, that's cool.
Okay.
No, it's not cool.
What? Okay, so I'm a bit loud. I hear Aiden. Your mic might be slightly quiet. Do you guys think Big Bad Mama was a little bit loud? Maybe you guys can let me know, and let's get started. You guys ready?
Sure.
I'm ready.
All right.
Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama, straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles. Tonight, we're going to be discussing what is a biblical kind. This is September the 20th, 2024. And
what happened? Are we good?
So when I pause, I want to try and hear from each person at least once, and then I'll wait for a little bit, and then I'll play it again. I want to try and avoid the stop and starting where I play it and somebody starts talking. So let's go ahead.
We're the folks who believe the Bible is true. God said they will bring forth after their kind. There are no exceptions. That's all any plant or animal has ever done. Just did a debate a couple of nights ago with somebody on a different planet. And I've had 367 debates now with atheists, and they are on a different planet. They will argue about what is the definition of kind, or what is the Bible, okay? What is the definition of species? And they miss the much bigger picture. And I guess this led me down a rabbit trail of they just don't respect God. They don't respect God's authority. They don't respect God's word. And that led me down to the rabbit trail of people do the same thing to God. We don't respect God. We don't respect each other. This causes a lot of problems with countries, with real.
I mean, how much do you respect leprechauns, Ken? How much do you respect Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy? And I mean, like, that's not to say that those things are all equivalent to each other. That's simply to make a point that why would you give respect and this like inherent gravitas to a concept that you don't think ultimately exists? That's just as silly as saying that, we don't believe in him because we hate him. How can you have hatred for a concept that you don't think exists? I think that that's just as valid to apply that there than it is to say that against this really silly notion that you're throwing out right now.
Good point, Aiden. Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying, respecting Harry Potter, as far as I can hear. And
Yeah.
it's a fictional character, and I just don't believe in that character.
Yeah, that's not to say that we disrespect them inherently either. Like, that's a point that I don't go out of my way to go and diss Harry Potter any more than I go to say that he's a great character, right?
Right.
If he comes up in conversation, sure, I'm going to have opinions about him because I know of the character and I've read literature where that is a character within. But that's not to say that my opinion about that is to say that I think it actually exists and is a real thing.
You're going to criticize him as a character, though, as a fictional character, not as
Right.
a real person.
I mean, it's no different than saying that you hate the weather that day. That's not saying that you hate the weather because you think the weather has some malicious intent. It's just saying that you dislike the characteristic of what you're being exposed to at that point.
But of course, such an idea of their character, of their deity being a character, is anathema to them. They can't wrap their heads around someone else thinking this is legitimately not real. Hence why they say, you just deny God, you know he exists, thus making the entire idea absurd. Or is what their idea is.
Yeah, Kent, like, why do you disrespect Vishnu? Why do you disrespect Ganesh?
I know he sure as hell doesn't praise Joko because he knows nothing of Joko. Praise King Joko.
Does he praise Yoko Ono? Does he respect Yoko? That's my question.
Given his singing quality, probably does.
I think 3 out of the 4 Beatles didn't respect Yoko Ono, but that's a story for another day.
Family relationships, husband, wife, father, son, causes a lot of problems. So let's just talk about what's a kind here. And that's going to lead off onto a rabbit trail like I always do. Okay. Definition of species.
Hey, pause real quick.
The
So pop back just a second, AJ. A little bit over when you get that list of stuff. Now, I had noticed this when I looked at it. Doesn't that look like a quick link index to y'all? Like, as soon as someone says one of the trigger words, you can link on it and just go. I mean, it just, he goes by that real quick, but I noticed that and I was like, oh, there's that's just more cementing of how the script is formatted.
Right. Tailbone 873.
Yeah. I mean, and it ultimately just exposes the fact that Kent isn't actually, none of this knowledge is actually available in his mind. If he needed all of these quick links where he just needs to quickly jump over to this point, none of this is actually up there and stored away for him to be able to immediately access. And yet we're supposed to take him as some authority figure on these things. Anybody in the world could go and scrape a whole bunch of websites for information and put this exact format that we see here on the screen together. So that's not special in any way, shape, or form. What's special is being able to have access to that information through study and knowing that information, rather than just relying on something that ultimately I wouldn't be surprised if someone else put it together for him.
Definitely.
Can one drop of water cover the earth?
rabbit trail.
That's the topic.
Yeah, I mean, really look at this real quick because you can even see that the top one I remember is definition of species. Then he's got definition of kind. Those two look like they've been clicked. Then down there, family tree. So it's like he's been setting this up from his prototype, set of slides, cutting and pasting things together. And those are the ones he's gone to. But he's got a good chunk of his shtick there and then some.
No, that was a good catch, Carisi. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh, I see whale. You know what that's going to be. You know what he's going to bring up there.
Yeah, I think we all know.
15-footer.
So
Can't like some big.
Yeah. So everybody say hi to Stacy.
Hi, Stacey.
Now.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Stacey.
We love you.
Yes, we do. So I just had the most mind-blowing realization. So Kent always says alt DV. You know what DV stands for? Domestic violence. Just saying.
Oh, snap. Exposed. What now,
Straight
Kent?
facts.
Your move.
like I always do. Okay. Definition of species. What is a species? Well, species, let's see. In biology, it's a group of living organisms consisting of similar individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding. The species is the principal natural taxonomic unit, ranking below a genus and denoted by Latin binomial like Homo sapien, okay? Keep in mind, this whole concept of classifying animals into groups like species, family, class, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, That all started in the 1700s with Carolus Linnaeus, and that they've been tweaking that chart ever since. The animals do not care how we classify them.
Yeah, and even though we have evidence of humanity existing for 200,000 years at this point, and my religion's only 2,000 years old, that's okay, because my magic stuff is older than your stuff with actual evidence, Hovind.
Well, they came up with their stuff in the 1700s, and that's bad. But I don't know why I'm doing my Kent impression like that. But I've got a book that's from 1611 that I treat as the absolute truth. So just because my book's old doesn't mean it's bad, but everything else old is bad. It's not good science.
Well, we know that things in the 1700s are all awful, including that stupid America place. You know how often that stupid government's been suing me up and down? What, just because I'm not paying my taxes to it? What the hell's with that, Hovind?
Taxes are from
Or beating your wife.
1800s.
Yeah. Stupid place holding you to account for your actions.
Them. Not at all. They don't even think about it. They don't even know we're doing it. They know what their kind is. Just leave them alone. They'll find a mate of their own kind. Oh, brother. So what's the definition of species? What's the definition of kind? Atheists always pick at this question right here. So I'm going to nail this one tonight. Then we're going to open up the mic, have open mic. If you disagree, call me and I'll correct you, okay? Let's see.
There was no
What
open
is
mic.
it? Biology.
Yeah, not just that, but this has like been a fundamental sticking point that people have had with Kent for over a decade at this point. Is this wishy-washy, totally non-definable what a kind is that's changes every single time that Kent mentions it, because it's not actually something that he's ever nailed down. And I really doubt that you're ever going to see him nail it down even here tonight. Even though he claims that on the outset. That's just right before the Gish Gallop begins. But why now is really my question. Why, after people have asked you for over a decade to do that, have you only now just decided to tackle it?
Well, really, there is no reason, because this stream is not about Kent giving a definition of the word kind. It's not about kinds. What this stream is about is Hovind being mad that Planet Peterson destroyed him in a debate. Kent felt disrespected by, a Planet Peterson who's much younger than him. And Kent is still butthurt and complaining about the lazy teenage girls that he that stayed at DAL and where he had to flip the corner of the bed of a 15-year-old girl and roll her out of bed and then pour water on her when she's in her underwear, which is white cotton, that Kent apparently could now see her titties because he made it out to wet t-shirt content. Bitch, wake up!
And we wouldn't even be talking about any of that right now whatsoever if Kent hadn't opened his mouth and gabbed about it earlier, as we'd covered on the previous stream. But that's funny that he brings that up now. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, stuff kind of comes out of nowhere.
About that. The entire stream is about him complaining about the teenage girls. I'm not kidding.
All right, let's see.
Well, let's see. A type, a kind, a sort. Wow, they use the word kind, like the Bible does. Kind or sort. A species is invective of at once tough and suave.
Invictive.
A species is
Invective. What is
exactly.
What does that mean?
An insult.
Invective.
I love how they have like the little box down there is a similar type, kind, genus. They don't tend to focus on all the other stuff after those three, which very clearly show that this is talking about things that are related to the definition of species, but don't actually cover it. He's like, well, it's nice to see that they use the word kind, just like we do. No, they don't. They're saying that it's related to it, but not the same.
And then, like an idiot, he says the second definition, which has nothing to do with anything. A species of invective at once tough and suave.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense to me because it means insult. So I'm not even sure what that means.
invective of at once tough and suave. Species,
Ah.
national pornographic. A species is often
National
defined as a group of
pornographic.
organisms that can reproduce naturally with one another and create fertile offspring. However, the classification of species can be
Classification.
difficult, even riddled with controversy, and create fertile offspring. However, the classification.
He said it. Classification.
All right, Doctor. All right, Mr. Dr. Hovind, come with me. It's all right. Car is just over here. No. You're not driving. No. Here, give me the keys, Kent. Thank you. All right, we're gonna get you home, buddy.
The classification of species can be difficult, even riddled with controversy. Well, if they don't even know what a species is for sure, we don't have to know for sure what a kind is. The animals will take care of it on their own, okay? Let's see. Synonyms for species, a kind or sort. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Here we go. Synonyms.
Mm-mm.
Kind,
Look at Sandra. Better than Thanksgiving turkey.
Wow. You know, like why are you bringing up the synonyms for it though? Like, what's the point of that? You're just trying to find anything that even vaguely has kind in it, because that's the level of pedantic that you have to go to here to say that, well, they're not having to be specific, so I don't have to be specific with my stuff either. No, Kent, if your stuff, like, let's just say hypothetically that your point right there is accurate, then we're not being specific with our definition of species. Not true, but grant that. You still have to rise to a higher standard than us in order to prove that you're right. You can't say, I'm at the same standard of them, therefore I'm right. No, that doesn't make sense, Kent.
So the funny thing is that why are we not seeing a definition of the word kind based on a biblical context? Like, why isn't he looking that up? Like, kind based on a, look on a Bible website. There are websites that will give definitions of words as biblical terms. You know what I mean? Like, what's an example? Like, I don't know, a word
Skeptic
that means
Annotated
one
Bible,
thing
that's a
in
good
colloquial,
one.
but in biblical, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But basically, we're not seeing that though. Kent is literally just looking up, like he said, like he's looking up the definition of species, and he's looking up words that have kind in the description. But I told Kent this in a debate. I said that's not the biblical usage of the word, Kent.
And the biblical usage is ridiculous. I mean, the creeping things are a kind. So that's why he doesn't touch it, because he knows he can't defend what's said in the Bible as far as a definition.
I mean, he specifically said that, well, you know, people are asking me for what my definition of this, so I'm going to nail that down tonight. And then he just proceeds to go right back to what he was doing before, which is talking about the thing that he had already covered at that point. You're not even talking about kind anymore. You're saying, well, this is the synonyms for it.
Right.
You know, Sandra made me some synonym toast crunch earlier, so that was pretty good.
Yeah. It's like, so what they're asking me, what's the definition of kind? Well, what's the definition of species? What are some synonyms of species? No, what's the definition of kind? You cunt.
Classification,
Wow.
classification.
Classification, that's right.
A class of sassafras?
You know, the
What's the masturbation
classification
of
kind of like the
Class of
desiccation of my,
2021?
kind of like the desiccation of my face. Classification.
A class hold?
Synonyms for species, a kind. Well, a species is a group of organisms that share a genetic heritage, are able to
genetic?
interbreed and to create offspring
Hold
that
on,
are
hold on,
also
hold
A
on.
genetic.
Can we
Genetic.
have one
Kind
little
of synonyms
slow
for-
down again? Just one more time. We don't need to overplay the joke, but I want it just one more. The generic. I need it in my life.
organisms
Yes.
is a group of organisms that share a
This is Luke and Vision.
genetic The sharing genetic
Generic.
Generic.
Everyone in the side chat, when you guys see us or see Kent do mispronounce a word like this, I want you guys to give your best attempt at how it would be spelled. So please do that in the chat. All right, let's keep going.
Are able to interbreed and to create offspring that are also fertile. Scientists have changed the definition of species several times throughout history. Why is that? Because it's difficult to nail down, okay? God said, let the earth bring forth the grass, an herb yielding seed, and fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind. So the fruit trees yield fruit after their kind. I'd be willing to bet $5 the apple trees produce apples and only apples.
Can you pause real quick?
And if you plant.
So the reason why the definition is quote unquote difficult to nail down, as Kent said there, is because unlike Kent, who says that the sum total of all knowledge that humanity needs, aka the Bible, already exists and is there for everybody to study and look at, we don't think that everything is available to us in terms of the knowledge that we need to understand what species are. We have a portion of that knowledge, but that knowledge is growing every single day because we don't have dogmatic beliefs and things. You're the one that's supposed to adhere to dogma here, Ken. And you're somehow criticizing us for not having dogma and using that as an excuse for you not to have dogma on this, for you to be able to shift and change the goalposts. No. You're the one that's supposed to have had an unshifting, unchanging position on this, but you think that because we shift and change it based on the sum total knowledge that we have available to us, that you're just able to sneak whatever definition you want into the back door. No, it's not going to work that way.
Plant the apple seed, it'll grow into an apple tree, and only an apple tree. Now, it might be a different kind, a variety of apple tree, but it's still an apple tree. But cows bring forth after their kind. Everything, every animal brings forth after their kind. The Bible uses that phrase a whole bunch of times, 20 times.
What about fungi, Kent? Do they bring forth after their kind? What about I don't know, protists? Do protists? What about nematodes or what about the water bears? You know, what about mushrooms? What about fungal colonies that are thousands of different organisms linked together underground? Do they bring forth after their kind?
He's already been corrected on this before. It's not kind in the scientific field. It's that they always bring forward after their clade. But Kent hates cladistics, and he hates having to address it because cladistics and nested hierarchy are some of the biggest smoking guns against his delusions of a worldview.
I know what a clade is. Isn't that movie with the Wesley Snipes where he's a vampire?
All you have is lines on paper.
Clade 2 is my favorite one of those ones. Yeah, I think that one was pretty underrated, Hovind.
Lines on paper, lines on Lee.
Times in the first 7 chapters of the Bible. Bring forth after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. I think
it says it more than once. That makes it more true, Hovind.
It's just one of his classic things. It says this 173 times in the Bible. Oh, okay. So if it said it 172 times in the Bible, it would have made it 173rd less true. I got you.
you're trying to get a message across, folks. They bring forth after their kind, okay? But you atheists make these charts with everything related. You have the protozoa down at the bottom, or the amoeba or bacteria, whatever you want to start with, a single-celled creature, slowly evolving into everything else. This is not science. They're not bringing forth after their kind. You drew lines on paper between different kinds of animals and called it
okay. So
science.
So it's not that we drew lines on paper, because you can take the data of species and their DNA nucleotide sequences and how those interact with each other, and you can plug that into a computer. The computer will print out a taxonomy, a tree of life, that is going to be functionally identical to the ones that humans would create evolutionary biologists, taxonomists would create on their own, putting lines on paper, but by hand. So what does that say? You know what I mean? If a computer puts the lines on paper, does that make it still wrong?
What the hell is actually the difference between his lines on his paper, that is the Bible, and those lines? You know what the only difference is that the lines on that paper that Kent just showed are actually substantiated by something in the real world known as evidence.
We got the Kentucky atheist in the chat.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
What's up, Joe? If you want, I'd be happy to send you the link to join us on the panel. I know he'll probably say no, but just throwing it out there. All right, let's keep going. That's a good channel. You guys should go check out Kentucky Atheist if you have. I'm a real big famous YouTuber, so I gave him some pointers, and I think it improved his channel a lot. You know what I mean? It was really helpful, the things that I told him. You know what I mean?
I think
he was
staying humble.
He was so grateful for my advice. He'll tell you. He'll tell you.
You either lied or you're stupid.
I'm famous.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What is this one? Citable. Biological species, a group of organisms that can reproduce with one another in nature and produce fertile offspring. Species are characterized by the fact that they are reproductively isolated from other groups.
Record scratch. Okay. I want each and every one of us to tackle this question, and I will go first. So, blessed be he said, Hovind is not hurting anyone. Why do you pick on him? So, first off, your capitalization is very odd in the sentence. I don't know why you capitalized the W, but anyway, Hovind is not hurting anyone. He hurt his ex-wife Cindy when he slammed her into the ground. He hurt Cindy physically. But no, did Kent hurt anybody directly besides Cindy physically? I would say no. But, he has certainly hurt people financially. He did that to Cindy as well as too many people to name. He's hurt people emotionally. He's hurt them spiritually. You know what I mean? He's also hurt people by spreading misinformation to them and also to their children. I think Kent he's hurting our education system because he's trying to infest it with his creationist lies. And he's also hurting minors because he associates and props up people who keep getting involved with accusations of inappropriate contact with young girls and young boys. So there are young people who have been directly harmed by Kent's actions, propping up these type of people and using his power and influence to prop up bad people. So that's why I quote unquote pick on him. Blessed be he. Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay, Big Bad Mama, you go.
Yeah, so he spreads pseudoscience and negatively affects the critical thinking skills of children and adults. He spreads a negative doomsday message almost every day on his channel. And he invites child molesters onto his cult compound, who have children with them. And also he rips off his donors. His donations get stolen all the time, and he's constantly grifting for money. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Kent has tangibly hurt every single entity in his life that he is viewed as not overtly being on his side and supporting him, not just like partially, not even being indifferent. That's not acceptable to Hovind. You need to acknowledge him. You need to acknowledge his accomplishments and his achievements, and you need to give him what he feels like he is entitled to. Otherwise, he will do everything in his power to ensure that you are bad-mouthed and your name is run into the ground and you are made to feel bad because of it. I mean, like, look what he did with the road situation, for Pete's sake. Like, nobody at Dinosaur Adventureland had ever done any complaining about any kind of dust or any issues with dust whatsoever, but when Kent wanted the road, Pearl Lane, in front of his compound paved, he made this big kerfuffle about nothing, drummed up this issue out of nowhere, and made it seem like the government, or the county at the very least, of his area was like partaking in the active polluting of his residents by not giving him what he wanted. So Kent isn't content with just being in his little compound and minding his own business and doing nothing. It's not already bad enough that what he does there is, as Big Bad Mama said, and AJ said, the inculcation of misinformation into children and the spreading of that to as far and wide as possible. But he also has to take it further than that and make himself entitled to things like the paving of his road at millions of dollars of taxpayer expense that he never had any entitlement to whatsoever in reality. So yes, Kent is an insidious person, and it is better that people be made aware of that than not be made aware of that. That's why we're quote unquote picking on him, blessed be he, or at least why I am.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. When you sum it all up, Kent is just a horrible person, and that's why we go after him.
In other words, the cows can't mate with the hamsters, okay? Which means that organisms in one species are incapable of reproducing with organisms in another species. The term species can also be defined as the most basic category in taxonomy. Species is defined as sharing based on a shared evolutionary history. You got to throw that in there or they won't publish it in a peer-reviewed journal. Okay. Let's see. Species, nature.com. Biological species, a group of organisms can reproduce with one another in nature and produce fertile offspring. That seems to be kind of the standard thing they rally the flag around. Okay. What is a species? Scientific American. To this day, scientists struggle with that question. What day was that? 2008. I don't think they got any closer since then. Okay. The debate over species definition is far from over. An embarrassment of definitions. It may come as a surprise to see scientists struggling to agree on something so basic as how to decide
All the
how to
throat
decide
clearing in this
Wow.
video.
Yeah,
Ugh.
this is really bad. I mean, like, this is just so funny to me because Kent just juggled two totally juxtapositions there and just expects nobody to notice it whatsoever. On one hand, scientists are just a bunch of blithe idiots who can't even agree on something as basic as the definition of species. But scientists are also a totally unified cohort, basically a hive mind of organisms that if you say something that it doesn't include evolution, then you're not going to get published in a peer-reviewed journal. Which one is it, Ken? Are we just totally incapable of coming to even a basic understanding on things, or are we all just one hive mind creature that can't think for ourselves?
Good point, Aiden.
Perhaps it's the Latin that gives species names the whiff or absolute certainty that has misled the public into thinking the rules are simple. Perhaps it is that 1.8 million species that scientists have named in the past few centuries. Just because there are 1.8 million species names does not mean there are 1.8 million different kinds of animals in the world. They will take the 37 different kinds of foxes and call each one a different species. The Arctic fox, the brown fox, the gray fox. They're still the same kind. This is where the argument comes in, and the guy on the different planet the other night really got bent out of shape over this, okay? Let's see. But in fact, the very concept of species has fueled debates for decades. There is no general agreement among biologists on what species are, says Jonathan Marshall, a biologist at Southern Utah University. At last count, there were 26 published concepts in circulation. So what exactly is a species? Linnaeus, Carolus Linnaeus, new order made the work of taxonomists easier, but trying to draw the lines between species has proved frustrating. Two species of mice might interbreed where their ranges overlap, raising the question of what to name or give name to give to the hybrids.
Can somebody give Kent a Ricola?
Ricola.
Yeah, really though, like somebody, like just a lozenge. Just take it before the beginning of the stream, Kent. I beg you. Your audience would thank you for it.
That's too
Charles
considerate to
Darwin
other people.
was amused
Saying that's too considerate to other people, though. They got to listen to him clear as phlegm.
by the struggles. It's really laughable to see what the different ideas are prominent in various naturalist minds when they speak of species. He wrote in 1856, before his book came out. It all comes, I believe, from trying to define the undefinable. Well, why'd you title your book The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life, Charlie? What is the origin of species if you don't even know what a species is? How did they originate? Meanwhile, other varieties become extinct. An old variety ends up markedly different from all other organisms. Let's see. I look at the term species as one arbitrarily given for the sake of convenience to a set of individuals closely resembling each other, Darwin declared. So the other night, the guy from the other planet said there's 1.8 million species. Well, I guess I didn't catch it in time to correct that. That may be true in the way some people number them, but that doesn't mean there are 1.8 million different kinds of animals. I think the two foxes on the ark were able to produce babies and all grandparents, great grandkids, and
then what's the number, Ken? Why have you never given a definitive number on that? I know that your excuse for that is, oh, well, I can change it because they change it. But no, you can't. Like we established before, you're the one that's supposed to be carrying the torch of this dogmatic, objective truth that doesn't change under any circumstance, hence it being objective as opposed to subjective. So what's the number? Why are you sitting here acting like, oh, well, they don't even know what they're talking about if you can't even give a firm number yourself? You won't give one here. I will bet every single penny in my bank account right now that he will not give a definitive number in this video.
And he's acting like scientists are confused on the subject, whereas species has a different definition about whether you're talking about biology, morphology, phylogenetics, or paleontology, the fossil record. There are different definitions that are used for a reason for each of those. Scientists are not confused about that.
That's the whole thing with Kent, is that nuance is just completely lost on him. The details, they just don't matter. It helps him run his script. That's all it boils down to.
He hides in nuance when it comes to his religion. It's all
true.
interpretation.
It's a double standard there. You're right.
It's as soon as you pin him down on something on the Bible that's objectively incongruent with science and with the reality that we see around us, that's just a misinterpretation, and you're just not understanding the context properly. Context is great for Ken when he's the one that's on the defense. But heaven forbid that somebody use it for the sake of defending things that are actually substantiated with evidence. That's not allowed over at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Good point.
AJ doesn't even know how to work a pause button, Hovind.
Oh, no.
What's happening?
Is AJ okay? AJ, are you all right?
Sorry.
Hovind put a spell on
blink
him.
once if you're alive.
Yeah, look at this.
My microphone is not evolving. Okay.
Kent put a magic spell on you.
Automatically.
Put a spell on you.
He's casting some eldritch curse right here.
Yeah. So
I found a scam on you.
Cause you're man.
I'm trying to talk. Darn it. Gee whiz. So Charlie Darwin said, "No one definition has satisfied all naturalists, yet every naturalist knows vaguely what he means when he speaks of a species. Generally, the term includes the unknown element of a distinct act of creation." So there's a couple phenomena that basically just refute Kent's argument. So we have hybridization, which presents a challenge to the concept of reproductively isolated species, as fertile hybrids permit gene flow between two populations. Like you have crows, you have a carrion crow and the hooded crow. They're classified as separate species, yet they can hybridize where their geological ranges overlap. And then my favorite example, and I presented this during my second debate with Ken, is ring species. So ring species is basically it's a connected series of neighboring populations where each population can sexually interbreed with the adjacent populations, but there exists two end populations in the series that are too distantly related to interbreed. So this can
I'll have to
happen.
look into that. I'll have to look into that one.
Right. So an example that I gave is at the Grand Canyon, formed in a flood and went 1 week. You have on one side you have the Kaibab squirrel, on the other side you have the Abert's squirrel, and they are separated by the canyon. So they've been separated for so long that they are too genetically different to interbreed with each other. So when two species are separated by a geologic formation or a geologic event, like tectonic plates moving, or like a lake, a river, like turning into a lake or something that separates an area, or a peninsula turning into an island, or vice versa, anything like that, it's called allopatric speciation. So I presented this to Kent basically, and what he said was that, oh, well, squirrels mate with squirrels. They're the same kind. And then I presented this example. He's like, yeah, but it's still a squirrel. So it's the same kind. It's still a squirrel.
Right, but at the same time, thank you for bringing that up, because that example that you just provided perfectly highlights the absurdity of Kent's worldview, because Kent is sitting here acting like as long as there's a squirrel, quote unquote, they're going to be able to, no matter what, essentially, because they're the same kind by his definition, be able to reproduce after their kind, as the Bible says. And yet, you have these two separate squirrels that, according to Kent, would have only been separated from each other for a week. And within a week, within only 7 days, they totally lost the ability to be able to interbreed with each other genetically. They became so distinct that they weren't able to. It's just evolutionary hyper-accelerationism is really all that it is. He just thinks that evolution occurred way faster, but he thinks that as long as he uses the word kind and keeps it vague enough, that people just aren't really going to pay all that close of attention to that very gaping hole in his worldview.
Did anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah. So, like Aiden was saying, he believes in a post-flood hyperspeciation event. Yet he wants to say that you'll never get a cow to jump over the moon. So he never wants to define what limits are on natural selection, for example. But yet he's willing to admit there was a hyperspeciation event.
Right, and Kent is about to talk about Noah's Ark, so let's play the video.
Great grandkids that diversified
We can't
for
see
lots
the
of
video.
different reasons: natural selection, artificial selection, and
AJ.
they are now 37 varieties of
Thank you.
foxes. I don't know. There's still one kind of animal. It's a fox. Okay. This understanding of how species evolve led to a new concept of what might be meant by a species. Ernst Mayr, a German ornithologist, boldly declared that species were not convenient labels, but real entities, like mountains or people. In 1942, he defined a species as a gene pool, calling it a set of populations that can reproduce with one another. That's what the Bible says, Ernst. They can bring forth. Okay. Defining a species.
What is this exasperated sigh from Kent? Like, I'm like, listen to this again.
Like, is his implication here that they're just copying the Bible? Because that's really the only explanation I have for why he would be like, oh, this is so pedestrian.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Of what might be meant by a species.
He's treating these established great scientists as children almost, and like, oh, they just don't get it. They don't understand. Like he's above them all. That's what I get it from it.
These ideas, they're almost as pedestrian as the pedestrians that I get filled with dust from my Jeep, Hovind.
Species. Ernst Mayr, a German ornithologist, boldly declared that species were not convenient labels, but real entities, like mountains or people. In 1942, he defined a species as a gene pool, calling it a set of populations that can reproduce with one another. That's what the Bible says, Ernst. They can bring forth. Okay. Defining a species. A species is often defined as a group of individuals that actually or potentially interbreed in nature. In this sense, a species is the biggest gene pool possible under natural conditions. That definition of species might seem cut and dried, but it's not. In nature, there are lots of places where it's difficult to apply the definition. For example, many plants and animals form hybrids in nature. Hooded crows and carrion crows look different. And large
Dude, I freaking called it. I freaking called that.
Nailed it.
mate with their own groups, but in some areas they hybridize, make a baby
I had not seen this
offspring
part.
between the two different varieties. Should they be considered the same or separate species? I don't think the crows care at all. They don't even think about it. Probably never even heard about it.
What does that
They
have
just-
to do with anything?
He repeats
Oh,
it
yeah.
every time, and you're right. It has nothing to do with anything.
We have from Marty Camejo, I believe is the proper way of pronouncing that. $2. And they say, AJ, can I get a shout out in Hovind?
Oh, we have a big shout out to Marty Camejo with a $2 super chat. Oh, so thank you so much for this donation. I really need it because we're broke here. Last month, I had to pay $4,000 for the electric bill. You know, these lazy people are using my air conditioning, my AC. So I've devised a plan where I'm going to be installing space heaters in every cabin to run all summer long to offset the AC they're using. Hovind?
Nice.
You know, Marty Camino, I gotta be honest with you, all right? That $2 super chat was much appreciated, but I just have to let you know, if you send me just 25 more of those, then you'll have just enough to be able to afford my DVD number 5, only $49.99, all right? It's gonna tell you all the secrets about the government, and it's gonna tell you all about all the lies that they don't tell you in schools, Hovind.
Yeah, and you're going to want that DVD because pretty soon you guys are going to have to take the mark of the beast, which goes in or on or in the penis. And when you have the mark, you will not be able to get on the internet and watch my videos. So you need to buy my DVDs. Go to Walmart, buy a DVD player, and get a bottle of lube, and go home and just go off.
The last copy of DVD number 5 that the FBI didn't seize.
It's okay. We've still got the masters. The masters are a bunch of crappy VHS tapes in the back.
Okay, IRS guys, get every copy of Anal Beads number 5 you can find.
Hey, that looks good enough, honey. Come over here, okay? Okay.
Just the
The Bible says they will
juxtaposition.
bring forth after their kind, after their sort. Ravens. Any of approximately 10 species of heavy-billed dark birds, larger than crows. Closely related, both ravens and crows are species of the genus Corvus. It's a bird. It's a black, dark, flying bird. The heron after her kind. The locust after his kind. The bald locust. Wow. Some have hair, some don't. Look at that. The bald locust. The beetle after his kind. The grasshopper after his kind. The tortoise after his kind. There are 72 different varieties of herons, and they might have had a common ancestor called a heron. But I'd be willing to bet the guy from the other planet when he says there's 1.8 million species.
AJ's on another
counting
planet
all
right now.
72 different species of heron. Remember, aren't you? Yeah. They came from a heron. But see, they will take the little confusion over the definition of species and use that to say, see, that proves herons are related to, where they go. See, herons right there. They are related to elephants. Hey, they got a line between them. Not only that, herons are related to elephants and bumblebees. Yeah, you can see the similarity between those three. Are you guys dumb in any other area? Come on, think about it, okay?
Rude.
AJ, can you pause,
Two
please?
of every sort Noah took onto the ark. Two of after their kind, after
AJ,
their
are you
kind
still
of every
alive?
sort. It's pretty clear in the Bible. Kind and sort is what the
Everything went
Bible
blurry
used.
for me.
But today they use the word
Yeah.
species. It might be
Yeah,
the
low
same in
quality
thousands
Hovind
of ways,
stream.
areas.
Oh, it's not just
Could
me
be
then.
identical,
Okay.
but it doesn't necessarily mean to be. It has to be. Beast after their kind, after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. That's what it says of
Oh
every
God, are
sort.
we in hell now? We have to listen to
AJ,
this without
are you
pause.
with us?
We are in hell.
The Jews,
We're
which
in
believed
hell.
not, moved with envy,
No.
took unto them certain
What
lewd
happened?
The
fellows
prophecy
of
has
the
been
baser
fulfilled.
sort.
Joko has
Veneer
betrayed
There are
us.
some sorts of people that are just low life.
AJ actually
Met
works
one
for
of them.
Hovind.
They're just the scum of the
Oh,
earth, you know, the low
We
life.
were duped all along.
Oh my
Right.
God.
It's a simple definition of species.
I'm
Biological
sorry, Ken.
species, a
You're
group of
right.
organisms that can reproduce with one another in
You're
nature and
right.
produce fertile offspring. Okay. What is your definition of species? A group of similar things,
We're sorry,
living things
chat.
that ranks below genus
I
in
know what
scientific
it's like now
classification,
to be like on
made
an
up of individuals able to reproduce offspring with one another. Wikipedia.
We haven't crashed
Let's
into
see.
many major
Species, often defined
populations
as the
centers
largest
yet,
group of
so that's
organisms
good.
which any two individuals of appropriate
AJ, I
sexes.
love you, buddy. Come back.
They're not going to let that fly in
Yeah,
San
it's
Francisco, are they?
okay.
They're going to ban that. This textbook. Wikipedia is going to be shut down in California. Okay.
First deity to
Mating
revive
times
AJ,
can
we're
produce
going to
Audience,
believe
we're
in.
offering a $10,000
Vishnu,
Biology
reward
Buddha,
to
classification
find
Satan,
provides
show
AJ.
me.
living organisms that share common
Audience,
characteristics and are
somebody go
capable
try
of
to find
interbreeding.
AJ. Is he okay?
Carolus Linnaeus in the 1700s made up this
We need a
chart.
welfare
He said,
check.
we're going to start with kingdom, phylum, kingdom,
Please,
phylum,
God, help
Kingdom
AJ.
Phylum
class, order,
I've been told
family, genus,
by
species.
Famine that I need to
Tangled up
start
here.
over talking.
The entire classification
All
system
right, here
is
I go. We're
man-made.
just not going to be able to understand
Animals
anything
don't
of
care
this entire stream
how we
now. I'm just
classify
going to be
them.
debating Ted. No,
This
they're
is
not.
only to keep humans happy.
No, that's not true. Oh, there we go. There we go.
AJ, you're alive.
Thank you.
Yet he's
Oh,
silent.
Gosh.
Catch my breath.
Whew.
That was
You
exciting.
guys okay?
I just took a massive Kent overdose right there, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to ride it out right now. I'm trying to just like. I think.
Man.
I don't know if AJ's live right now. I'm trying to.
Who
make
is
sure.
Gotta
going
be
on?
right back,
Who's-
okay?
Oh,
Jeez.
AJ's back
Yeah.
again.
Don't be such pussies.
Hey, I've already had to watch that video once.
he's been gone for a half hour. Thanks for not
I
noticing.
was
Hey, I've already had to watch that video once.
A half
He's been
hour.
gone for a half hour. Thanks for
We're
not
watching
noticing.
the stream now.
Hey, I've already had to
We're
watch that
watching
video
the stream
once.
in the
He's been
stream.
gone for a half hour. Thanks for
We're
not
watching
noticing.
the stream section.
Sorry.
This is great.
To keep humans happy. That's all.
There. Ha.
They know
All right.
and only mate with their same kind.
So wait, Aiden, you
Oh,
had something to
somebody
say
put
earlier.
that-
Do you even remember?
So yeah, Kent Stoopy and he dumb and he wrong
He's a big
because
doo-doo head.
his face stupid. I don't know, dude. Go back like 5 minutes. I gotta go like
No, no.
Yes,
please.
let's
No,
rewatch
but
all
you
that
really
again.
rewatch. No, I do. I'm
Hominid
sorry.
to have the human and the chimpanzee in the same family. That doesn't mean anything as far as relationship. Don't say that's evidence because somebody stuck them in the same box. I bet you could get in the same box with a worm too. What does that mean? You're related? Species. A set of animals or plants in which members have similar characteristics to each other and can breed with each other. Up at Dinosaur Adventureland on the North 40, we keep our sheep, our donkeys, our zebu cows, our horses, all together in the same pasture. We have never gotten a zeep. That would be the zebu and the sheep, okay? Never gotten a zonkey or a heap or a how or a shibu. They know what their kind is. And they show no interest in mating with the other kind. Except yesterday. Brother, did you see? You know, that family gave us the ducks that raised the turkeys. We have some huge turkeys that were raised from a little chick by the ducks. The ducks were their mom and dad. The ducks still think they're the mom and dad. They pick at them, and don't they? And run them around, chase them around, get them out of places. Well, yesterday, I saw the duck had gone in on top of the turkey because the turkey was sitting on the chicken eggs. So the duck was trying to mate with the turkey. If they are dumb enough to try, like our duck raised this turkey from a baby, nothing will happen. I assure you, they won't make what would that be, a truck?
Can you pause?
Huh?
Like nobody's making the contention that they were going to do that. And now I do remember what I was going to say earlier. So when Kent was pulling up like images of all those different species, and he was saying, "Oh, look at this. Oh, they got all the different locusts. One has hair, one doesn't have hair. Oh, I guess that just makes it a separate species." Like acting like we're just like going around and saying these tiny, minute, arbitrary differences are what makes things different species. No. Like what was established before, the ability to be able to interbreed is what determines whether or not things are able to speciate. You supposedly defined that earlier, but then scoffed and tried to imply that we like somehow took that from you in the Bible, even though we have a completely different understanding of what a species even is. Like, no, it isn't these minute little differences. It's the fundamental ability to be able to interbreed and produce literally any kind of fertile offspring. That's that's the fundamental requirement that you need there. There's nothing else, to my knowledge, that you need beyond that. And he's just trying to make it a giant hubbub and try to act like we're just going around and being as arbitrary as he is with his stupid religion and trying to impose that on us as though, well, yeah, you guys have got a religion too, Hovind.
Right. So, it's like you have the swimsuit area of a 30-year-old woman and the swimsuit area of one of Chris Jones's victims. One has hair and the other has no hair. Over.
Jeez.
Oh God, AJ. Oh man. Oh, I thought I crossed some lines on my stuff.
Okay.
No, hang on.
The
I had
turkey
one thing to
went
add
in
though.
and said,
So a second ago, he's laughing about the duck and the turkey and whatever, trying to get it on. Here's the thing. Every time you get talking with Kent about species, he goes, "Oh, well, they know that they're not going to get confused. They're going to find, the turtles are going to find the turtles, and the ducks are going to find the ducks." And yet, right here, obviously not. Come on, Kent.
Well, it's like I always say, old enough to breathe, old enough to breed. Over. I just want to draw attention to my screen real quick because I want to turn my webcam on because earlier I baked a strawberry cake. So let's see. Oh, let me turn my light on. Yeah, here we go. So this is what we're working with.
Nice.
Very
Yeah, that's good.
This is just a piece. So yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, carry on.
sat on some chicken eggs, and the male duck tried to mate with her. Bird brains, both of them, okay? All of them, yeah. And nothing will happen. They know what their kind is. Stanford Encyclopedia. The nature of species is controversial in biology. Biologists disagree on the definition of the term species. Philosophers disagree over the tried to mate with her.
Slow-mo.
Hey, he said it, not me.
Bird brains. Both of them. Okay.
They're the bird brains, you're right, Ken.
All of them.
All
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
And nothing will happen. They know what their kind is.
Except they're trying to mate outside of their kind.
Stanford Encyclopedia. The nature of species is controversial in
Oh, God.
biology.
This slow motion bobbling of the neck pussy is really something to behold.
He's starting to morph into a turkey. I think.
You're not supposed to look directly at it.
I know. It's like the Eye of Sauron. It's draining me of my essence.
His
Yeah,
parents
it's
gave
like
birth
Baywatch.
to a turkey.
I think our video is gonna get demonetized for sexual content because
Oh
look
yeah,
at that.
this is
Look
definitely
at that.
explicit.
There's a navy.
Can I not
There's
go
a
back far enough?
navia.
Disagree on definition.
Yeah, no, it was
of
philosophy,
the
wasn't it?
term species.
No, it was forward.
Idiot. In biology. Biologist is the nature of species is controversial in biology.
We should just listen to this story the whole time.
Biologists disagree on definition of the term.
Sleepy Hovind.
There be a truck. The turkeys is, well, okay, all of them, yeah. And nothing will happen. They know what their kind is. Stanford Encyclopedia. The nature of species is controversial in biology. Biologists disagree on the definition of the term species. Philosophers.
There it is.
Falafel.
That was it.
Falafel. He did. He had falafel on the brain. He's like, oh shit, we're gonna get me some falafel after their falafel. I'm a falafel.
Stanford Encyclopedia. The nature of species is controversial in biology. Biologists disagree on definition of the term species. Philosophers
The grunts of defeat. This word's too much for me, Hovind.
You just see the gears turn. He tries like twice to hit a recovery there, and he's just like,
404 Hovind not found.
I need a
Yeah,
minute. Hold on.
this is like Lupin vision.
Need to get the noggin jogging real hard here, Hovind.
Yeah, yeah.
disagree over the ontological term of the status of species. What is a species? It seems easy to answer the question. Homo sapien is a species. So is Canis familiaris, the familiar dog, domestic dog.
Who said homo?
Many species can be easily distinguished. When we
Hovind's
turn
a
to
homo.
scientific literature on
Homo,
species, the nature of species becomes less clear. Biologists offer 20 definitions of the term species. Britannica. There are more than 20 other different species concepts. What is a species? The most important concept of all of biology is a complete mystery.
Stop real quick. So I would just like to take this moment, since we're an hour in the stream, to remind everybody that Kent here was supposed to be defining kind. And he's just rambling on about species.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Well, he doesn't expect you to have remembered that. Like I said at the very beginning, that was at the very beginning of the Gish Gallop. He wanted to equip you with that so that you had that expectation. And then he says a couple of key words that he knows is going to appeal to his followers and make them think that he's already covered that. But in reality, it's just to keep them distracted long enough so that he can shift it back over to criticizing somebody else rather than substantiating his own position. Because he never substantiates his own position.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen the perfect example of that is literally any debate that he's ever done on theology. Ken Hovind cannot debate theology to save his life, because when he debates theology, he actually has to stand on something rather than criticize somebody else's. Oaks, oh my goodness.
Well, hello.
Oaks Cool Dave has donated $1.99 and said, "When are you gonna get
Old
Wild
School
Man
Dave.
Chris on Old School? Oh my
Oh,
God!
Lord.
Wow, good Lord! I'm just really retarded. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's Alad Skull.
Hayden thought he was Norwegian or something.
Yeah,
Old
seriously.
school Dave.
I was like, Alad Skuldov has donated. Yes, hello, we're gonna eat a wild meat crease on the penal. I am old Skuldov.
Yeah, I'm like, we need to get Deviant on here to translate this guy's username.
I was a little confused, but it turns out that I was just a little stupid.
Now we
So
should play
cool.
Aiden's at slow speed.
He said, Al Haskell Dave. Thank you, Al Haskell Dave, for the for the $1.99 super chat. That's appreciated.
So, old school Dave asks, when are you going to get Wildman Chris on panel? And the answer is never. Wildman Chris is somebody who I did a video about several years ago, and I didn't know if the guy was serious or not, because he basically he's very odd, because he is a survivor of a stroke, and it's very apparent in his speech and his cognition, and basically just his haircut. I'm serious. And just the way he looks. And it's not an exaggeration for me to say that he sounds retarded. I'm not saying that as an insult. It's just literally true that he sounds that way. So a lot of people were uncomfortable with that video, or just a little bit weird about it, because it's like, should I be responding to this person? Is it bullying, or am I picking on this person? I don't think it was, because he makes videos where he's, has criticisms of atheists, like Aaron Ross specifically, and Matt Dillahunty. And I basically went on there and just tried my best to just respond to his claims without, making any ad hominems or whatever. So that was a while ago. He found my Discord, and I have a promote content channel in my Discord, and I said, yeah, you guys can post any videos that you have, post them in there, spam the shit out of it. I don't give a crap. Well, Wildman Chris either took this as being extremely literal or he took it as a challenge, because he has been nonstop posting videos in there and tagging me in every single one of his uploads on more than one channel. He tags every atheist he can think of in the description of the video, even though the videos have nothing to do with me. And then I asked the guy, I said, Chris, please stop tagging me in your videos. And then he said, oh, you're telling me not to fucking do that? I'm going to fucking do the exact opposite. If you tell me to do something, I'm going to do that. I said, dude. And he said, oh, you should have asked me nicely. And I said, dude, suck my fucking dick, dude. Go fuck yourself. Okay? Asked you nicely. Fuck off, dude.
So
Just because you're a stroke survivor doesn't give you license to act like a dick, dude. You got a license for that fucking... You got a license for that. You got a license for that. Your chimney sweep. You're sweep my fucking chimney, mate.
So that being said, thanks for the $1.99 super chat. All's good.
Is that a good answer? Is that a good? Dude, I answer people's freaking questions. When they send super chats, I'm going to answer the question to the best of my ability. Let's go.
Oh, don't yell at the creationists for claiming to bring forth after their kind. That's what they do. A koala bear isn't actually a bear. It's a marsupial. The basic idea is simple. Certain groups of organisms have a special connection to each other. So what is a species? The truth is, we don't really have any idea. This guy wrote. See, the Bible says the haters of the Lord should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have been endured forever. This is the problem. The evolutionists.
All right, this is the halfway point of the video. This is the turning point where the video is no longer about kinds and is now about Kent being disrespected. So buckle up.
Oh boy, this part gets good, ladies and gentlemen.
Want to submit to God. It says in Romans chapter 1, they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. So God gave him up. He gave him up, he gave him up, he gave him over 3 times in Romans chapter 1. They hate God. They don't want to submit. God said clearly they will always bring forth after their kind. Now, in Malachi chapter 1, the last book in the Old Testament, he said, as a son honoreth his father and a servant his master, God telling Malachi to tell the people this, if then I be a father, where is mine honor? If I be a master, where's my fear, saith the Lord.
Can you pause?
And God is saying, look,
See, I love this. This is so fucking rich coming from Ken, because he's a proponent of a book where there's a character in that book named Paul. And one of his teachings in that book is if your enemy comes to you or they come to your fellows and they only say falsehoods against you, that's when you can laugh at them and you can poke fun at them and you can be joyous because they don't have any actual criticisms towards you. And that should speak for itself. Ken, you can never accurately portray the evolutionary perspective. You can never accurately portray the reason for why people ascribe to evolution. The majority of people that ascribe to your book as being true think that evolution is a fact of our reality. You're the one that's in the minority, and you're trying to use this book as an excuse to lampoon everybody else for not falling into line for your ideas. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit, Kent. All right? And everybody that doesn't fall in line with you can see that plainly.
And here's where we're seeing Kent is comparing himself to God, as far as I can see, with these 2 quotes. AJ, what do you think?
Oh yeah. I don't think I've seen another video from Hovind that where I can say literally Kent compares himself to God in this video.
We have a $7.99 super chat from Ian Chen Official, who said, AJ, booked in my 3rd debate with Rocky Kent Thursday, October 24th. The time to be continued. Topic, common descent, and I reckon I've got something unique. Awesome, man. That's good to hear.
Nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So time TBC is to be chosen. I don't know if you weren't sure about that, Aiden, but
No, I just couldn't figure out what it was at the moment, so I said
Yeah.
to be continued because
And,
I'm an idiot that doesn't understand basic English properly. Thank you for pointing that out, AJ, for everybody
well,
once again. That's
usually it's
appreciated.
usually it's TBA, like to be announced. Maybe it's TBC in Australia or New
Actually,
Zealand.
Aiden, it's actually to be considered, not to be continued. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. So
But thank you for being on, Aiden.
No, I'm,
um, so
you have to have somebody to lampoon besides Kent, right?
So this sounds great, Ian. I thoroughly enjoyed your first two debates with Rock Hard Kent. I prefer that to that.
They were
Rock-
wonderful.
um,
How do you think the
and-
desk gets held up in any of those videos, Hovind?
exactly. So I too have a debate with Kent coming up. It's going to be about carbon dating, and that is October 11th. So look out for that. Donnie was telling me that he likes the debates I've done because he says that I pick really good topics because they're varied, like whale evolution, Haeckel, and then what was the other one? Carbon dating and I'm drawing a
Oh,
blank here. Big bad mama.
Drawing a blank here
Carbon-
too.
Carbon dating, what is that? Some gay hookup app, Hovind?
No, it's when your car has been dating other cars. Carbon dating. Carbon.
He likes that you pick specific topics.
Yeah, and that I picked varied topics that are varied. All right, let's keep going. Oh crap!
Google.
Sorry.
Well, AJ gets that fixed.
Well.
I had Genesis Baptist Church comment on one of my more recent videos being like, call 855 Big Dino to schedule a debate. And it's like, it's already been nearly a month and a half that Sergio was supposed to email me. I still have no email. I'm waiting.
Ian Chen
May be long upon the
generously
land.
gave another $2.99 and said, "Let's give Rock Hard Kent the old 1-2 then, AJ."
Yes.
I'm gonna double team Hovind. Yeah.
Double Hovind penetration.
Lord, I'm going to explain it to them. After 10 plagues, they finally got the message. Okay, you want to let them go? I see. Okay. And I've gotten me honor upon favor. Argue himself here. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? If I be a master, where's my fear, saith the Lord? See, God is saying, look, if I'm God, why don't you honor me? Why don't you respect me? Let me make a note to self here. Okay.
Note to self, worship Hovind.
Book in the Old Testament. He said, as a son honoreth his father, and a servant his master, God speaking, God telling Malachi to tell the people this. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? If I be a master, where's my fear, saith the Lord? See, God is saying, look, if I'm God, why don't you honor me? Why don't you respect me? Let me make a note to self here. Okay.
Yeah. All right, note to self, get more people to fear me. Hovind.
Sounds
That's-
about right.
Yeah, I know that tends to engender more donations than anything.
People are afraid of me. That's going to get the donations pouring right in.
Absolutely. You get them scared. You get them donating. They start shaking. The wallet falls right out of their pocket.
Hovind's the kind of guy that you drop your wallet on the ground for 2 seconds right in front of Hovind. He picks it up in front of you. You're like, "Hey, that's my wallet." He's like, "What wallet?"
Well, it was a magic trick by Magic Man.
For the Magic Man, there was no wallet. Are you just saying that wallet created itself?
This camera. Okay, yeah. Let's keep looking at the wrong one. There. Behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them, and I will get me honor upon Pharaoh. God said, Moses, I'm going to harden his heart, and I'm going to get me honor.
Pharaoh.
The Egyptians shall
Pharaoh.
know that I'm the Lord. I'm going to explain it to them.
Yeah,
after 10 plagues,
Pharaoh.
they finally got the message. Okay, you want to let them go? I see.
Right. So Pharaoh didn't want to let out. He didn't want to let my people go, but God hardened Pharaoh's cock, and then he let him go.
Yeah, it's so beautiful because Pharaoh very clearly wanted them to be able to go, but then in Exodus 4:21, God actually hardened Pharaoh's heart and actually made Pharaoh do a decision he didn't want to do. But yeah, you have free will, Hovind.
And I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh. I will get me honor. Honor thy father and mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is the only commandment in the 10 Commandments that has a promise with it. If you children don't honor your father and mother, God may cut your life short. He's promised you a long life.
Damn.
See, in the army, they have values. One of the
So
biggest
much love.
values in the army is honor.
Could you imagine? Hold on.
Honor. This is a big thing in the army.
Could you imagine if like one of us wrote a book, and in that book we were just like, "Hey, look, I'm not saying that you have to believe what I'm saying here, but if you don't honor what I'm saying, you could die." That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You could die if you don't honor what I'm saying in this book. No, that's not okay. But as long as it's in the ancient book of fairy tales and magic, that's okay.
There's a bunch of World War II vets still alive. Every time I see a vet, when I'm out shopping or someplace, I see a vet on their hat, I walk up and say, thank you for what you did for our country. And I apologize for our stupid politicians for sending you places.
I'm basically like a war veteran if you think about it, Hovind.
I fought that spiritual warfare. I'm the guy with the MG42.
Can you read this comment that's on screen, please?
Sure. AJ, you should check out the last 15 seconds of this morning's stream. Oh, yeah?
So I just did that, and holy fucking shit is all I have to say. Holy shit.
We're doing this in a bit, right?
Is this late breaking news?
It is. Hey, we'll continue. And if you want to see that, you gotta watch to the end of the stream, okay?
Yeah, you gotta watch the end of it. We're gonna hold you hostage for the rest of the day.
Roshina, where's Roshina? Send me more money. Dude, I did a gaming stream last night, and Roshina probably sent me like $40 in super chats.
Oh, wow. She's always so
Nice.
generous. That's awesome.
It's ridiculous, dude. Okay, just keep going.
Yes, for sure.
One, and a two, and a go.
She had no business going. Thank you. We let vets come fishing at our lake for free. We let the police come fishing here for free. We let teachers, public school teachers, private school teachers, you can come fish for free. We don't let anybody else come fishing. We stock the lakes. We feed them. We got a lot of fish out there. We don't want the whole world coming fishing here. But we honor those we should honor. I honored my dad. He was a Marine veteran, World War II, only survivor. He was my
Only survivor of World War II.
Yes, you guys show some respect to Ken Hovin's father. He was the only survivor of World War II.
If you really think about it, World War II was just one giant Thunderdome conflict where literally everybody was fighting everybody else, and my dad was just the titan. He was just the titan that came out at the very end.
He invented Highlander before Highlander. There can be only one. Hovind.
Hi, Hovind.
my dad. I loved him and I honored him. And if you kids aren't honoring your parents, and there's all kinds of ways you can show disrespect and dishonor. How many of you have ever seen a child disrespect or dishonor their mom or dad? You ever seen that?
Oh, here comes the
when
show
you
of
go
hands.
shopping and some people in the store. Hey, son, get up here. Maybe if I will if I want to. Yeah. God said they would bring forth after their kind, and evolution believers refuse to honor the Lord or respect his word. So they pick at it. What's a kind? What's a kind? When I was a child, my mom and dad taught me to show respect to elders, to the police, to military, to teachers.
Pause. So basically, Kent's argument here equates to don't question what I have to say because I'm in a position of authority, so just shut up and stop holding me to account for what I have to say. No, Kent. The difference between you and somebody that's in the army getting yelled at by a drill sergeant is that unless the draft is in place, that person that's getting yelled at chose to be there. You're trying to impose this onto everybody else. So no, those things are not equivalent. The drill sergeant, by virtue of like spending time in the military and actually busting his chops to earn his position, actually like commands some level of respect and authority. You haven't done anything with your life besides just demean other people that have worked far harder than you at actually trying to make something of themselves beyond just picking away at other people.
Show some respect. There are different levels of disrespect. I got off on this rabbit trail here a couple days ago. Different levels of disrespect. Passive aggressive behavior. This level involves subtle, indirect expressions of disrespect, such as sarcasm, such as stonewalling. Mom or dad asks you to do something and you take your time getting there. You walk real slow. I finally had a problem when I was teaching school. Kid would say, Brother Hovind, can I go to my locker? Can I go to the bathroom? Anything they should have done during break time, they now want to use my class time to go miss class. And so they would walk real slow to their locker and slowly look, see which book do I want to get, and slowly come back, Finally, I said, I got a way to figure out a way to solve this. Every second you're gone from my class is 2 seconds you stay after class after the bell rings. Takes you 37 seconds to go get your book. Well, you're staying here for 1 minute and 14 seconds afterwards.
Pause.
Now they got.
So Kent in this scenario doesn't want to actually like go out of the classroom and go into the hallway and actually observe these students. He doesn't want to actually punish the laggards. So rather than punishing the people who've actually, by his standard, done something wrong, he would just rather punish everybody uniformly, because that way he doesn't have to move his fat ass from his desk and actually do something with himself. Like, what other reason is there for that institution of that kind of punishment? Why would you punish somebody if they take 5 seconds to go and grab things from their locker somehow and then sprint back to class? They shouldn't be docked an extra 5 seconds out of their life just because you're too lazy to go and actually properly administer your punishments.
Actually, Aiden, they would have to stay for 10 secones, not 5.
That's
Oh,
I said if they were gone for 5, they'd have to stay for 10.
okay. So yeah, let's just do a hypothetical thought experiment here, and let's imagine that Ken enforced this. What are the possible outcomes? So, on the one hand, we have kids who now have a less time to make it to their next class before the bell rings, and what is the usefulness of that? What's the point of that? Or if that Kent's class is the last class of the day, they're likely just either making the parent who is waiting to pick their kid up wait longer, which is unfair to the parent. They didn't do anything wrong. Or they're possibly risking the kid maybe missing his bus because he's spending time in Kent's classroom for no reason. So what does that accomplish? My question.
It fundamentally shows that Kent doesn't value any of these children's time. And certainly doesn't value it more than thinking that he somehow taught them some lesson or imposed some sort of ideology upon them or some facet of his ideology, because now all of them have to be universally punished. It just depends on how punished you're going to be. How's that fair? How's that justice?
It's all about him bullying children. That's what he's done his entire career.
Creasy, anything to add before you hit play?
Oh no, y'all nailed it.
Okay.
Got the message.
I love, just real quick before we keep going. Blessed be he earlier in the stream was like, why do you pick on Kent? Well, we don't pick on Kent as effectively as he picked on children. So maybe you should ask yourself that.
Yeah, we're not basically abusing Kent, although we might want to.
I was always looking for ways to keep the pressure where it belongs. The pressure belongs on the student, not the teacher. I enjoyed teaching. I didn't want to teach under pressure. When the cop pulls you over for speeding, he's not angry and he shouldn't be.
AKA, I didn't want to do any work, so I'm just going to expedite as much of that onto the student as possible. Yeah, that's a great way. That's like, imagine that in any other profession. I'm a waiter, but if you really think about it, I don't really want to have to work under pressure. So I think that the customer should have to get up and get their drink themselves, and they should
they want seconds, then they should have to get up and go to the kitchen and grab the seconds themselves. Because I mean, I don't want to work under pressure here, guys. Come on, dude, that's not fair.
So
That
so
doesn't make
basically,
any sense in any other profession, but it's okay for Kent because he's the teacher.
yeah, so basically, Kent is the lazy teenager he would complain about at a restaurant or something who wants everyone else to do the work while he just sits there and collects the paycheck. Funny.
He doesn't want to work under pressure, okay? And when you think that that means that he doesn't want to do his job, he'll show you otherwise by giving you examples of punishing every single student because he doesn't want to get up from his desk and actually observe who the specific laggards are and punish them. He just wants to punish everybody.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Right. No, that imposes a lesson upon children that I'm sure they'll carry forward with their life, which is I'm going to be arbitrarily punished even if I try my best and try to do everything I can in order to succeed. That's a really good lesson.
Yep.
Right.
Critical step for life.
Yeah, keep them paranoid. I agree. So, yeah, I was gonna say something, and I completely lost my train of thought. Let's go.
Train of Hovind is derailed.
Be yelling at you. Yeah, what are you doing going so fast? No, he knows he's got control of your wallet right there. You've got the pressure on you. May I see your license, please? Yes, officer. And you should show some respect. And some of you kids need to show some respect to your elders and to your parents.
Do you show respect to the IRS, Ken?
Do you show respect to that 15-year-old girl?
Did you show respect to the government with your constant admonishing of them in your sovereign citizen rhetoric? See, when he has to pay respect to somebody that's more senior than him, then it's nothing but complaints. It's nothing but trying to get out of it in any way, shape, or form possible. When it comes to the IRS, Kent is literally the exact example that he gave with that student. They're trying to do everything that they can to get out of doing what they actually want to do, but that doesn't matter. When Kent is the one that's in authority, then it's all biblical. Then you just need to unquestioningly do everything that I say.
Did Kent show respect to Cindy? Did he show respect to Daria when he debated her? Did he show respect to me in my debates with Kent?
To the child that Chris Jones brought to Dinosaur Adventureland, was there respect?
Right. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said the name, but yeah. No, he didn't. Yeah, I mean, and Ken was saying that the first sort of level of disrespect is being passive aggressive, and an example of that is sarcasm. We know that Ken Hovind is not a sarcastic person, guys. Because I can't detect sarcasm very well, or I'm not good at being sarcastic. But Ken Hovind does not enjoy sarcasm.
No, he's never been sardonic once in his humor or sarcastic. He's never once tried to pursue a snide, holier than thou. I'm just so above what you're saying right now that I can just blithely dismiss. He's never engaged in that kind of behavior before, because that would be hypocritical of Kent. And as we know, according to the book of Revelations, one of the people that are reserved for the lake of fire is hypocrites. So Kent doesn't want to be one of those people, which is why he engages in hypocrisy. Oh no. Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Filled with useful legal tidbits just like that.
Stupid Mo, none inventing recipe stealing pug nose.
Well, Homer, maybe you can take some consolation in the fact that something you created is making so many people happy.
Oh, look at me. I'm making people happy. I'm the magical man from Happy Land in a gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
Well,
Duh. Look at that brief
Lisa needs to go to the museum.
Magic Man. He said Magic Man. Did you see that? Magical Man.
His Magic
Days
Man.
may be long upon the land which the
Magic Man. Magic Man. Da, 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 da. It's Magic Man.
Ooh, Kent is in
Magic
potato
Man.
vision.
Magic Man, dodge every single tax I can.
Stop to every dog he can.
This is the only commandment in the 10 Commandments that has a promise with it. If you
we jump back in time.
Commandments was that I commanded that other officer to shoot that dog. Dog dead.
children don't honor your father and mother, God may cut your life short.
Did we see this part already? Or
Yeah, we went back a little bit. When you jump ahead, you
Right,
just
but
lost
I
track.
want to
this
play
is
this section because I believe Aiden and Big Bad Mama know why I find this take especially sort of personally upsetting. If not, I'll tell you guys after the stream. But let me play this one more time.
Come here, that thy have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh. I will get me honor. Honor thy father and mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is the only commandment in the 10 Commandments that has a promise with it. If you children don't honor your father and mother, God may cut your life short.
Many men, many men wish death upon me.
I'll take you to the candy shop. And let you lick Hovind lollipop.
Hovind 15-foot lollipop. Hovind.
Mary Toko really hit the
Yeah.
spot.
And he's promised you a long life. See, in the Army, they have values. One of the biggest values in the Army is honor, 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 honor. This is a big thing in the Army. Here's a bunch of the World War II vets still alive. Every time I see a vet, when I'm out shopping or someplace, I see a got vet on their hat, I walk up and say, thank you for what you did for our country. And I apologize for our stupid politicians for sending you places you had no business going.
So we all know that people who signed up for the military and served in the military absolutely had no expectation that they would be sent off to foreign countries to fight in wars based on
No.
They had no idea that that was what they were signing up for.
No, when they signed up, they were told that they were just going to be on, flour detail.
Yeah, exactly.
They were, and by flour I mean they were just going to be milling flour all day long and like a Dutch style windmill all day long. You thought that it was going to be flour, but that's not true because that's girly and Kent has a very anachronistic view of masculinity. So that's not even true, and you wouldn't even dare levy that against Hovind, would you, AJ? Otherwise, that's libel and slander, and you're going to end up in Kent's prison cell if you dare say that about him, bitch. So let's keep going.
aren't these guys collecting pensions from the tax money that Kent refused to pay for years and years?
Yeah.
Well, they're not from that tax money because he didn't pay it, but your point is made.
So what I
Right.
thought them being on flower duty was like, when you had the soldiers who had the guns where the protesters put flowers in their guns, and then you shoot the protesters.
No, I mean
flower duty is.
I mean the Colombian flour that they have distributed over from down south. You know what I'm saying, Hovind?
AJ, you bring up a good point. Kent State, Kent Hovind. There's a connection there.
Oh,
Good point.
wow.
Good point.
Big Bad Mama sounded like Robert F. Kennedy there for a moment.
Sorry, I croaked.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
What an incredible photo this is, though. Really,
It really is.
That's a really nice photo.
It reminds me of the photo of Tiananmen Square, the tanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
the tank guy.
Yeah,
the
Tank
guy
Man.
standing in front of the tank.
That's me. That's me. All those tanks, that's the system, Hovind.
And I love this guy's sweater. I love his sweater, and I like his hair. I think he's definitely gay.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
you went there.
Well-
I just want to point out the interesting nuance that this is a photo from near 60 years ago, and yet it still feels so modern. Now, part of that is because we're growing up, we have a lot of recorded media from this time period, so we see it along with, everything else we watch, we consume. But just the fact that it's that long ago, yet it still feels so recent is just kind of interesting to us. That sense of scale with time.
No, I can say this with confidence because the guy in the image is a protester named George Harris, and he was known to be gay. He's a very famous protester.
No, AJ, you got canceled. Sorry, stop giving context. You've already been canceled, AJ. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's too late.
No,
It's too
I'll go
late.
bite the curb.
What So you want the angry mob to just have to go back and try to get a refund policy on all those torches and pitchforks? No.
Look, I
They don't
said,
have a
what do
refund.
you want me to do? I'll tie the noose myself, Aiden. What do they
All
want?
right. Well, that's not what they wanted, hence why they got the torches and pitchforks. But
I
all
see.
right.
What am I, Frankenstein's monster?
Well, thank you for saying Frankenstein's monster, because somebody as uneducated as Kent would have said, "Where am I, Frankenstein?"
Frankenstein was a scientist, Kent, you dumb fuck, but you don't know anything about science. That makes sense.
Preach, brother, preach.
Was that delivery like
That's
especially?
good. That's good. That was good.
Okay.
Days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is the only commandment in the 10 Commandments that has a promise with it. If you children don't honor your father and mother, God may cut your life short. He's promised you a long life. See, in the Army, they have values. One of the biggest values in the Army is honor, 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 honor. This is a big thing in the Army. Here's a bunch of the World War II vets still alive. Every time I see a vet, when I'm out shopping or someplace, I see a vet on their hat, I walk up and say, thank you for what you did for our country. And I apologize for our stupid politicians for sending you places you had no business going. Thank you. We let vets come fishing at our lake for free. We let the police come fishing here for free. We let teachers, public school teachers, private school teachers, you can come fish for free. We don't let anybody else come fishing. We stock the lakes, we feed them. We got a lot of fish out there. We don't want the whole world coming fishing here, but we honor those we should honor. I honored my dad. He was a Marine veteran, World War II, only survivor. He was my dad. I loved him and I honored him. And if you kids aren't honoring your parents, and there's all kinds of ways you can show disrespect and dishonor. How many of you have ever seen a child?
I disagree with this take. I don't think every parent inherently deserves respect. I think if you're a parent who's abandoned your child and has done nothing to actually take care of them and advance their education, you should not be honored or respected just because you happen to be the person that gave birth to that person. No. I think that honor and respect and those sorts of things are something that are earned, not just through good
Sperm
parenting.
donor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, it's something that is earned, all right? It's something that you only gain for somebody if they have provided you with reason to do that. But Kent just thinks that he's entitled for people to honor and respect him, even though he hasn't given them any reason to. As a matter of fact, has given them far more reasons not to honor and respect him than they do to honor him. And yet he's still just entitled to that because he's an old fart now.
I mean, is he talking about his kids here in a way? I mean, all this goes back to the fact that he's not in contact with a couple of his children.
Yeah.
Give the Echo Stones back, Eric. Come on. Give me my pants. Give me my Swiss Army
Swiss
knife.
Army knife. Give me my underwear and give me the Echo Stones. They're covered in chicken, and your chicken shit.
Disrespect or dishonor their mom or dad. You ever seen that? I see it when you go shopping and some people in the store. Hey, son, get up here. Maybe I will if I want to. Yeah. God said they would bring forth after their kind.
There. Wow. What was that? Ah, yeah. What did the uppers just hit there, Ken? What was that? I just did a big old bump right there. It's just like, ah, yeah.
I should sniff some amyl nitrate. Huh?
He would have slapped
In
the
evolution,
kid, bro.
believers refuse to honor the Lord or respect his word. So they pick at it. What's a kind? What's a kind?
So this is obviously a big straw man because there are many, many Christians who accept evolution. They just think that God set evolution into motion, and then it's theistic evolutionists. So it's not just, you can't say evolution believers refuse to honor the Lord because most evolutionists are Christians. Most Christians are evolutionists. I get so tired of bringing up this point, but
Yeah, but any Christian that ascribes to any form or function of that, we know that Kent Hovind and his cohorts refuse to actually understand and actually I'm sorry, somebody's got some background noise.
Yeah, I think Karishi was doing some cocaine or something.
Yeah, something
Sorry.
like that. What was that all about? He's like, wow, Aiden brought up doing a bump. Well, shit, all right.
Yeah, guys, if you need to smoke or take a line, just mute your mic. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, come on. Let's be respectful around this den of depravity, okay, people? Let's have some level of decorum while we're being debaucherous and making fun of Kent for being an octogenarian fuckwit, okay? Come on!
What? I couldn't hear you, man.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. Just give me something.
What?
Oh, the drill, you're kicking in, brother.
All right, this stream has now become us reacting to Freedom and Loathing in Las Vegas. Everybody, welcome to the watching of Freedom and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and
All right,
Loathing, you mean?
Shut up! Shut up! It's not Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I didn't get the title wrong because I don't know anything about popular culture, Big Bad Mama. I don't appreciate
You haven't read
you
a-
and AJ.
I was
You and
freaked out.
AJ, over the course of this stream, keep exposing me as like a know-nothing fuckwit, and I'm supposed to be exposing Kent as a know-nothing fuckwit.
I'm sorry.
So you just gotta tone that down, Big Bad Mama. All right.
You're gonna do it our
Big
way.
Bad Mama. I've lived
We don't allow no
experience. I know things. Oh, sorry.
alcohol.
Sorry, my
period.
bad.
You can't even go off campus to drink. You say, yeah, but it's legal. Sure. Go live anywhere you want. Go do it. But you can't live here and do it. Real simple. Okay. If you show disrespect or disobey our clear rules, you can go get your own house to live in, your own food to eat, and do it your way. I'm not trying to control anybody's life. I'm trying to control the ministry God gave me. That's all. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to come. How can they not get it, brother? How many times have you heard me say something like that? A lot. A lot. Yeah, okay. So God said they'll bring forth after their kind. You evolutionists, atheists, argue about what is a kind. And if we don't give the answer that you want or accept, they jump to the wild and stupid conclusion that all animals and plants are related. So what's a kind? What is a kind? Can they bring forth?
Hold on.
See, we're not actually required.
So go back there a little bit. Go back like 10 seconds.
You evolutionists, atheists, argue about what is a kind. And if we don't give the answer that you want or accept, they jump to the wild and stupid conclusion that all animals and plants are related.
All right, pause. Like, do you understand how fundamentally stupid that sounds just in isolation, Kent? Because you don't give the answer we want to hear, that's why we come to the conclusion that everything is... Do you not get how asinine that sounds? Just like on the surface of it? No, because if you slip 100 of those in and amongst all of your other gobbledygook, you just expect people not to notice, right?
So what's a kind? What is a kind? Can they bring forth? See, we're not actually required to define the term. You can't define species. But see, you want all of us to pay for your stupid religion to be taught. You want all of us to pay to teach in the public school that this is part of science. I'm not requiring that this be taught in public schools. They bring forth after.
You would if you could, Kent. You wish that you could.
Yeah, like acting like you're not requiring that just because you're too lazy to try and impose your ideas on a national level doesn't mean that you somehow have some like advantage over us in this scenario. We know for a fact that in every single scenario over the course of your life where you had the ability to be able to impose education on children, that was the exact kind of education that you imposed on them, was your set of creationist nonsense. If you at least had the common decency to provide an equalized education where your children and the children that you taught had access to both worldviews and were able to decide things for themselves, then you could take this supposed moral high ground. But that's clearly not what you want. Ergo, your short and horrible history as a teacher that thankfully exists in the past, I hope every single child that you ever taught over the course of your awful existence as a teacher has forgotten the lessons that you inculcated into their minds, because they would be better off for it.
Amen to that.
After their kind. I think that's all we've seen. You see, the burden of proof is not on me to define a kind. It's on you. You want these charts with the stupid lines drawn between them. That's not science. And I know you'll never admit it, because right away the next thing comes along is if you admit your chart is stupid and it really represents religion, then I'm going to come along and say, why are we paying for your religion to be taught? So you have to pretend it's science. Where's my SpongeBob? Go back over here.
Buzz.
Just imagine it's science.
Once again, his idea is that we defend that so that he doesn't do the thing that he does anyway. Ken, you go around and say that it's a religion anyway. So how is us saying that any kind of preventative measure of you doing exactly what you just described? if you didn't do that unless somebody admitted that and went down your line of reasoning you just gave there, okay, fine, you could claim that. But it's just example number 5,000 of something you're just not supposed to really think about in isolation. Don't think about that too hard. On to the next point.
I want to take a second to sort of just remind you guys of just how entitled Kent Hovind truly is. So America is about 77% Christian. That's a rough estimate, but it's an overwhelming majority of the population is Christian in America. I would say, I think it's fair to say, and Christians, especially Christians like Kent, have politicians in very high positions of power that are willing to pander to them, are willing to try and enact and pass laws based on their interests, based on a set of morals or values that is from Scripture, like Kent. So Kent Hovind has gotten from Christianity and from younger creationism, has gotten over 100 acres of land basically for nothing. He's gotten fame, wealth, the adoration of thousands of people who look up to him as a role model, as a doctor, and as a teacher and an educator. Kent Hovind's gotten all of these amazing blessings from being not just a Christian, but specifically a young earther. Okay, that's okay, whatever. But that's not enough for Kent. He can't just leave well enough alone at his fucking huge fucking theme park. No, he says, "Oh, that's not enough. I also want to control what's taught in the public schools. I don't like evolution, so it shouldn't be taught." How fucking entitled are you, Kent? Really? Like you're gonna go in and get with your senator friends and try and pass laws to affect the education system in Arkansas? You know, Kent Hovind basically had a bill that was pretty much written by him, or had his talking points, that missed passing in Arkansas by 6 votes. That's how close Kent came to truly affecting the education system in America for the worse. That's fucking scary. And it's like, isn't it enough for you what you already have, Kent? Asshole.
No, of course not, because that's one of his sad attempts at trying to secure some kind of legacy for himself. He does want to affect as many people as deeply as possible, while also somehow having the absolution of saying, I'm not trying to change anything. You're the one that's trying to change everything. You know, status quo, that's the example of change. No, the status quo is not change, Kent. You're the one that's trying to shake everything up and try to make it some weird reflection of your fucked up ideology.
It's like, it's funny, you bring up him wanting to leave a lasting legacy. It's like the man wants to live forever, which is sort of an ideal in Christianity. That idea, that's the carrot, live forever. But it's like he seems so focused on the here and now, giving lip service to the afterlife concept. It almost makes you think, does he know he's full of it? Which we all, I think, feel he does know he's full of it. But it's like, it's just funny to notice that he, so focused on the here and now.
Kent would have had a great thing going if he just would have concentrated on the creationism evolution stuff. But instead, he concentrated on the money, and he ended up having to spend 9 years of his life in prison, which is not worth anything. All his millions is not worth 9 years in prison. So he's a failure in my mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you said, that's a very good point. I mean, even if he had made $10 million off of his ministry and got to keep all of that after his prison sentence, I don't think that that's ultimately worth that huge span of your life just basically being thrown down the toilet. So, I mean, obviously that's embittered him, and it's made him more predisposed to this just very untoward personality that he's displaying here, where it's very clear that all of these positions come from a deep well of frustration and bitterness and contempt for anybody that does not agree with him.
Okay, that's enough for tonight. Let's get some questions here. Some of you guys that believe you're related to a sponge or a banana, call in. We'll try to handle it. Okay, what do you got there, brother? Open mic Thursdays are going to be excellent. Last night's was fun to watch. We're going to do it again tonight for a few minutes.
Just a few minutes.
Was death defeated before the fall or after? It's the blood of Jesus Christ that defeats death. It's not over yet. It's death and suffering going to be no more, but that's still coming in the future. It take a long time to really answer that thoroughly, but we still have death and suffering in the world.
Pause. No, it was after the fall, according to the Bible, because it was, as Kent just said, it was Jesus that did that, but then he also contradicted himself and said that, well, no, it's not completely done yet. Okay. I mean, I don't even have really the time an inclination to describe how that's not scripturally accurate, but it's not.
I don't know about that. I know, you use the boomerang to kill death, which sounds weird, but that's what I remember from Castlevania, and that's all I really care about here.
Well, I think instead of using a boomerang, Kent would use a rubber band to kill death if he was in Castlevania. As a
Hit him right in the eye.
That's right.
Paper airplane.
There you go. Paper airplane is a special attack.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't the Bible reveal there are kinds of kinds? God created one mankind. There are varieties of kinds from the creation. Well, there's only one mankind. Man has different colors, different skin colors, but like there's different skin colors on cows. We have brown cows, white cows, black cows. They're still a cow.
Based, Ken? There is only one mankind.
There are many different kinds. Genus, family. There's a bird kind. See, this is where the animals don't care. If you want to know if they're the same kind, turn them all loose and go watch them. The birds especially, are way smarter than the evolutionists. They have a bird brain, and they know what they're kind of.
The ducks that want to turkeys are smarter, right, Kent?
Well, it's not enough for Kent to say that he's right and the enemy is wrong. The enemy, according to Kent, which I just love that language of enemy. Like that doesn't invoke any kind of combative ideas within people whatsoever.
Oh no!
When you call people who
Certainly
disagree
not.
with you your enemy or anything like that. But it's not enough for him to say I'm right and they're wrong. He needs to say I'm right and I'm smart and they're wrong and they're stupid. And that just shows a fundamental insecurity that Kent has. Because if he is smart, then his intelligence will stand on its own. And if his opponents are stupid, their stupidity will stand on its own. He doesn't need to make commentary on that if what he's saying is just so obviously stupid. Or sorry, if what his opponents are saying is just so obviously stupid.
You misspoke, Aiden. Dummy.
Oh my God, you're right. Nope, you're right.
Dumbass.
You know what? I managed to misspeak without. I managed to misspeak without going like, philosopher.
Falafel waffle.
Let me just summon a Sumerian demon real quick here on the middle of the stream.
Let me just summon some semen real quick.
Yes. Except for that one duck that we're going to go have to cook him on the dinner table.
So I wonder what Kent would say if we let some ducks loose, and Kent saw that instead of trying to find their own kind, that the male ducks were raping the dead female ducks.
God, hide your kids, hide your wife. Those ducks are raping everybody.
Yes, and I'm like, did God design the duck to have a corkscrew penis and the female duck to have a reverse corkscrew vagina?
Well, if we've learned anything from Kent, God really, really, really is obsessed with genitalia. The whole foreskin thing, the 15-foot penises, Kent's whole series on making babies. So God really seems to like dicks.
Well, you need to understand, okay, God is the ultimate embodiment of mercy and justice, which is why he designed a creature like the killer whale that'll go around and just like toss around baby seals up in the air and just keep whacking them up in the air over and over again, even though they're screaming in pain and misery and suffering. They don't actually eat the baby seal. They're not interested in eating it. They're not interested in trying to attract larger seals to help the baby seal. No, they're literally just doing it for fun. We've proven this. And yeah, that's just part of God's perfect design. It's part of God's perfect design that there be harlequin babies that don't even survive more than a day after they're born, and for bot flies to burrow into the eyes of some children that aren't harlequin babies. That's just part of God's perfect design. All right. And if you don't accept that, then I'm sorry, but your life is going to be shortened according to Kent because you don't buy into what he says, AJ. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, AJ? You're going to die one day, AJ. You ever thought about that, bitch?
I think about it every single night. I cry myself to sleep because I'm so scared of dying. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Nah, JK.
Kent should be afraid of dying
We have
if he thinks that God,
Very,
the God of the
very-
Bible, is true.
Yeah.
We have to play the last 15 seconds of the recent video.
We
absolutely
definitely got to
will.
do that.
We've only got a few minutes left.
Yeah,
and-
we got to finish this and then we'll play the last 15
Yeah, I
seconds.
promise we will, guys. But yeah, thank you to the people hanging out in the side chat with us. We got 76 people watching. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, for how long the
Hell
stream's
yeah.
been going on, thank you that many people for sticking around. That's awesome.
Hope you guys are enjoying the stream because I think we've been having a lot of fun. So.
You can't
Okay.
figure out. I doubt tigers and lions share a common cat ancestor, but were present at the day of creation as different kinds of cats. Well, even then, grew up in Egypt, and he served God.
See
anyway.
science.
Okay, Daniel taken off to Babylon. If you're living in a household where your dad or mom is something that is anti-scriptural, you can still honor them. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to follow them. But there's been cases in the Bible where you do. And all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, reproof, correction. You can read the scripture and find an example. How did he do it?
You know, if your parents beat you every single night and they're just drunken pieces of garbage that don't even spend the time of day to give you a moment of love or affection, you need to honor them because magic book.
Hey, the book says it. Got to do it. It says it in the
Yeah,
book.
that's not a horribly fucked up way of imbuing values into a child, trying to give appreciation and respect to somebody that overtly doesn't respect it. And I'm not saying Kent does that, and I'm not saying that most parents do that, but there are certainly examples of parents that are supposed Christians that do exactly that to their children, and their children are forced to have some sort of faux respect and appreciation for them that ends up resulting in very deep psychological repression and trauma that they have to deal with for the rest of their life. Thanks, Bible.
Okay, more? So what now? So a kind is anything Kent wants a kind to be. You either weren't listening or only have one functioning brain cell and it's gone to sleep. Therefore, I bet this guy, therefore he thinks evolution is true, right? I'd bet $5. Okay. Oh, brother. He didn't get it. Okay.
It's echoing around the room. It's echoing like it would around the
Okay,
Grand
thank
Canyon
you
that
so
was
much for
formed in a
joining us.
week, Hovind.
Come down, visit Dinosaur Adventureland. We have a blast down here. It's awesome. If you're bored, want a place to help in a ministry, we won't pay you, but we'll feed you and house you. And if you don't obey our rules, we'll throw you out. But we want the whole place built that way. People come. Some people have been here a long time, just work for free. Just we feed them and house them. What other bills you got? Some people. How many of our people here are retired? They got.
I have a crippling hospital bill for my cancer diagnosis.
Ah, fuck you. Not, well, yeah. Well, you can leave then. You dust off your shoes and move on to the next city, bitch. That's in Matthew.
Some kind of income from somewhere else, and they don't need anything from us. So, okay, I don't have that problem. But okay, see you. No, not tomorrow. Sunday we'll be back in Psalm 19. What a chapter this one is! It's going to take 4 years to get through that chapter. See you then. Bye.
Fuck off, Kent.
Okay.
Had to get it in there.
Give me 1 second to switch over to the other video. And hope you guys are having fun on the panel and you guys watching inside.
Vamping for
All right,
time.
you guys ready?
feeling in
You guys
the
ready?
Yeah.
air.
Let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, I'll get into Psalm 20. And if you come here to Dinosaur Adventureland to church on time, you get to go with us to lunch. Today is Chinese. Okay. We've been feeding the extra Chinese food. They give us all their leftover at the end of the day in buckets of slop. We feed it to our pigs. You should come see our pigs. Yeah.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Holy.
Wow. That's
the way it cuts out right there too. It's like the person in charge of the stream was like,
camera-
"Oh nope,
The camera guy's like, nope, let's not get that on there. Oh
holy
shit! All
fuck,
right.
Kent."
Yeah, that was
Not the first
Very-
time he's done that, by the way.
No,
I have
definitely
several
not, but just-
videos of him doing that.
You racist piece of shit.
Yeah, it's not enough for Kent to hate people that disagree with him. He also needs to hate people that agree with him that aren't the right color of skin as well.
And these nice people giving them their food, and he's calling it slop, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that if they watched him saying that they wouldn't spit in his food or anything like that. Like they wouldn't do anything. And you know what? I'm unironically saying that because they held themselves to a higher standard than Kent could ever hold himself to.
Yeah.
So, like, it just goes to show how hateful of a person he truly is. Like, almost every single prejudice that you can think of, this human being falls within them. So, well, that was pretty fun.
So, yeah. So why don't we go around the panel and you guys can each give your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap the stream up. How does that sound, guys?
Sounds good to me.
Aiden, why don't you go first?
Sure. Well, I think that this was a lot of fun. I think that Kent is once again exposed as a cloistered off, angry, bitter old man who is desperate to, at the same time, capture sympathy from people while also giving them within that video so many reasons not to actually sympathize with him. So that is the paradox of Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind is the man who rattles his tin cup and expects you to put money within it. But if you give him money that isn't shiny enough to his liking, he'll complain to you that it isn't of the right quality for him. It's not to say that he won't take it, but he'll certainly complain that it's not as shiny as he wanted it to be. I think that's the essence of Kent Hovind. Who wants to go next?
You want me to go? Thank you guys for doing this. This was awesome. It's fun hanging out with you guys. And I just think Kent is getting stranger and stranger as time goes on. And I look forward to doing more of these in the future. That's all I have to say.
For sure. Thank you, everybody that watched tonight. We maintain a lot of viewers throughout this stream. So I just really quickly, before AJ and Carisi sign up, just want to thank everybody for sticking around and contributing as much as you did in the side chat.
I want to second that. Everyone watching has been awesome. Had fun here. Yeah, Kent is just a horrible person. I stand by that. I will constantly say that. And every video you watch of his just cements more and more of how just unlikable of a human being he really is.
Yeah. So I know that that stream with the content, it was a little bit probably upsetting to watch for a little bit. So I put this GIF on for you guys to sort of enjoy as we end the stream. I want to say a big thank you to Regios for gifting 10 Atheist Junior memberships, the Junior Squad.
That is awesome.
Good job, Regios.
So, okay, so we have Polly Hash's Cracker, Michael King, Wayne. Wayne is always sending super chats and good comments. Vixie Kid, Nitty, hey Nitty, Callisto Fury, S, Rusted Feathers, Robin Webster got one, so that's cool, and Doorknob Head. So you guys are now members of the Junior Squad channel membership, so you can use custom emojis in the chat and among other various perks. So thank you, Reggie.
Pardon my language, but heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've had the 70, 75 max live viewers. I want to say thank you to you guys hanging out in the side chat with us. I think this was an excellent panel. I would definitely enjoy doing another stream with you guys, and maybe we can round it off with a fifth member, maybe a Mark, a Stony, a Reed, Grayson. Yeah. there's lots of people that I think would round off this panel nicely.
Oh yeah.
Sure. So yeah, like the stream, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and we will just see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys. Thank you, Aiden, Big Bad Mama, and Krisu for taking the time, and I'm ready to sign off if you guys are.
Yeah.
So see you later.
for having
Thanks,
us here.
everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Later.